Hello, friends, and everyone looking for a good time. This is a video I hope that you enjoy called Once in a Lifetime, a Moment of Truth Comes. Excuse me. Now, this is uh, this is all rumors and opinions about the Mandalorian coming up, and I'm afraid to tell everybody. Gotta warn you that it's a stinker of a show. We get two thumbs down, and a lot of good reasons are coming up. Uh, for one thing, we have the late arrival of the trailer indicates that this is going to be just as bad as the Star Wars movies. Just like the Star Wars movies, they were uh, they they were late in coming with their trailers. Guess what? Same thing with the Mandalorian, and it's the same reason why, just like Star Wars, it's because it's bad and they have to do reshoots, and the Mandalorian is just crap. Just Mandalorian is crap, and you shouldn't watch it. It's going to be a waste of time. But uh, but again, I'm surprised not many people picked that up. But the late arrival of the trailer, you know, and the constant redoing of the shows and the trailer, only 8 shows. Can you believe this? They can only put together 8 shows. They can only write 8 shows, and that's another indication of another bad ending coming for a streaming show, just like the Game of Thrones. But since when has it went down from 25 shows to 8 shows as a good season? Uh, it's just it's that's all they can write, and it's barely any good, and all they can do is write stuff that's barely good to fit 8 shows, and oh my gosh, that should never. That's they're ripping us off by calling that one season 8 shows. But it's, but I understand. It's like crackers for starving people. I mean, uh, if you haven't seen something good like Star Wars in a long time, uh, you put a Star Wars equipment into such a bad story, and you'll be happy. You like you put one of those metal walking military equipment things that can go through the forest and shoot down stuff. And you put it in a bad story, and there you go. There's an episode of The Mandalorian, and that's all they're doing. They put some X-wing fighters at the end of one story, and all of a sudden they think it's a great Star Wars story because it has 3 X-wings, but blowing up something. But the whole story is crowded. It doesn't make sense, and it's something that no one should watch. And just like no one should watch The Mandalorian or Disney Plus, they should keep the parks closed and no government bailouts for Disney. If they do a bad job like this, they should not get our taxpayer money to bail them out. They had plenty of time to hire good writers all over the internet, like Doomcock, like Gary at Nerdrotic, like all the Doomcock wrenches. Uh, they could have had so many people providing so many good stories, 25 stories in one season, and they would be good Star Wars stories. And you wouldn't have to put like an X-wing or a walking one of those walking things that go through uh, the the forest and shoot up stuff to make a bad story a Star Wars story. Oh my gosh, they just keep blowing it, and this Mandalorian season 2 is just as bad. And now, but remember, these are just rumors, unsubstantiated rumors, and my opinions about Disney management, and so take it with a grain of salt, but they're from construction workers, building they say they're building the Kung Flu free set for this Disney, where they could have for all the new filming for the Mandalorian could be like shut up from everything else, and they can have a Kung Flu free set that no one gets sick. And Remember, these are rumors, unsubstantiated rumors and opinions only, okay? From construction workers. And yes, they had a few drinks before they started talking. And now, a lot. Now, one rumor that I haven't been reporting, but other people have, is there's problems on the set. There are problems on the set, but what other people were saying was the Mandalorian was like taking off his helmet during a scene, so unplanned, so people could see him. So he could see. He could get some, you know, uh, fame, fame and some credit for the being the Mandalorian you know like and one time he did it. They're complaining, you know "Yeah, people can't see you, we already made a big deal, you can't take off your helmet and people see you." And so he did it when there's a scene with just droids around him, and he thought he could get away with it then. But that was rumors people have been saying, that mid-season rumors that the Mandalorian actor, he wanted more fame and fortune. What fortune goes with the fame, and he wanted to take his helmet off during scenes, and he did it anyways, even if the director said not to, and that was a good problem. That's other people's rumors that was they were reporting, and some say that was the big news flash in the mid-season filming of The Mandalorian. Uh, but uh, the news flash was the real rumor that I've heard from construction workers. Some were able to see, with the binoculars and stuff, while they're doing constructions. That the rumor that I have to report is that Mando, midway through the season, started wearing what he called his second kung flu mask, and actually, which are actually called a diaper. So he was laughing, and then it saves him a lot of time from getting in and out of his costume if he had to go to the bathroom, and others in mid-season through filming the second season, other actors started to complain of the smell of the Mandalorian, but nothing changed. So these other additional actors and actresses, they started to wearing diapers too. It's easy for them to. Uh, they won't have to get in and out of their costume either. And these were Disney actors, so wearing a diaper was no big deal. Wasn't going to be the first time for them, right? So that's my opinion. But these are rumors and opinions, and then and soon the rumor is soon even the directors were like wearing diapers. Sometimes it got hot on the set, and all you saw was the diapers. They wouldn't even put shorts over them, but and directing everything, and they were making jokes, and they're saying things like, if a fart has the kung flu in it, uh, and people were getting sick that way, that they were keeping people safe. They were joking like that, and they're joking about how big the loads were. And then, there's a few close calls about acting where another actor might have got another actor some of his diapers, what's in his diaper, onto them. They were laughing, but then it kind of got serious. Uh, you know, I don't, uh, I don't want to get a diaper face and stuff. Especially if it's part of some joke, like everybody plays on them and they record it, and so there's some close calls about spilling diapers on the other contestants, on other actors and actresses, and then as they're doing their work, but then and here comes the moment of truth. You know, uh, the the Mandalorian, as shown in the picture. That gal, when they were fighting, he was holding back his punches, right, like a professional. But he thought she was going over the top to make it look like she was better than him, and he didn't like that. And you know, one thing led to another, and they had another fight scene, and she hit him hard, and then all of a sudden there was a big stare down, you know, the the directors were, they missed their lines and all, but the directors kept the cameras going. These are rumors and opinions, and the Mandalorian said she went too far, and she knew it. She knew she went too far too, and they were looking at each other, and they were giving each other a big stare down, and then they were going to continue this fight, but not as the director wanted it, and they knew, the loser knew, they would get a face full of crap broth from the diapers. Now, the Mandalorian here, he had a double big load in his diaper, but like again, she's bragging again. She does everything better. She had a triple big load in her diaper, and they were, all of a sudden it got very, very serious, very quiet, and they were staring each other down, and they were really seriously going to approach each other the best way they could, so the best way they could win. And it got ugly. Boy, did it get ugly. That's what rumors have it. Uh, they was a big. They were fighting. They were really punching, and there's a big struggle. And one director, he had enough of the Mandalorian taking off his hat during the scene, and he had to reshoot it, do everything over again. And he saw the Mandalorian, the position the Mandalorian in, to her diaper, and he said, he was saying that, let's see you take off your mask now, and then but his hands, uh, he had her hands in a leg grip, and she had, he had his arms, almost pinned down by her legs, and then but those directors assistants, they said, one of them volunteered, he'll do it. He said, I'll do it, and he went over and he took off the Mandalorian's helmet, and soon thereafter, she won. She won this fight, but it was a knockdown fight. It was a real fight. The Mandalorian actor was laid out, and the assistant director, he got his Mandalorian helmet, and these sometimes these what's not reported about these nice girls, they look great, they look, beautiful and all, but a lot of times it's just makeup, it's every day they look ugly, but someone can put enough makeup on them to look good, and they've been through a lot, like to get the job. Sometimes they had to sleep with the director and stuff like that, and Amber Heard. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, they're in the news again, and they they had problems, and Amber Heard is reported by Johnny Depp laid a turd on their bed. So that's, and she's an actress, and that was part of their divorce thing, or it's a rumor that a lot of people repeated, that Amber Heard, she's a beautiful woman, and she laid a turd right on Johnny Depp's bed, and and so no one was surprised, and a lot of people already saw this before, where these actors and actresses, they knew how to pull down their pants and let a lot of what's in the diaper seep out the top, and that's what she did. She pulled her pants down a bit, and the Mandalorian got a broth on his forehead and hair, at least the rumor says. But then she stopped. She stopped that far. She didn't get it in the face, in the eyes and stuff, but she did get him in the forehead with a diaper broth, and it was, she was showing, you know, a lot of what we don't see behind scenes and all. You know, you never think Amber Heard, would dump a load on your bed if she got upset at you or anything. And apparently, you're fighting for a lot of money too. These jobs pay a lot of money, and if a Mandalorian actor is saying, "Hey, I don't want this woman around me anymore. She's not fighting correctly. She's not holding back her punches or something like that. She'll do something to try to keep her job." And she really humiliated the Mandalorian. And during mid-season, and at mid-season for a few days, he couldn't even come in to the set anymore. He wanted just to phone in his lines, and he told someone, go ahead and use someone else in his place, and he'll just phone in the lines if he has to. But then he said, no, we got you under contract and stuff like that. And so he came back, but still, there's everybody joking about, you know, he got a broth on his hair. Did you wash that out yet? I still see stuff in your hair, and uh, and then he wanted the guy that took off his helmet fired, and but the director, he that was his suggestion, so he couldn't fire that guy. And remember, these are all rumors and my opinions. And that was the mid-season crisis. And besides the helmet coming off during the scenes, there's the big fight. There's it was something. Something got You should see it on film. It was something. It was a real life to death fight. And you know how the Mandalorian walks? A lot of times I've noticed he walks like a girl. And I've always said, you know, if he walks like a girl, that means if he's doing all these fantastic physical strength feats, that means he's a Mary Sue too. He magically gets his powers uh, because he walks like a girl and it doesn't look like he has those powers. But then all of a sudden in a fight, he can fight 15 guys, right? So that means the Mandalorian's a Mary Sue by the way he walks. It's only the lines in the story that make him sound like a big badass. But take a look at how he walks next time, and see if it's more feminine or male. Uh, but the girl is you don't when you go into that situation of like you're supposed to be a big fighter in the show. You are a big fighter in the show. You proved yourself. You have the strength. And you probably have to prove it again and again and again. And here she did it with a diaper broth on top of the Mandalorian actor. She proved she was a real fighter. And it was, take it what you will. uh, but that was that was that's you start letting actors and actresses wear diapers on sets, and all of a sudden it goes into this. And they made a change right after that the rumor has it that no more diapers for anybody. But that's where they went wrong. And another big thing that I have no specifics on, but uh, it is a big rumor uh, that George Lucas got his revenge. Now, how could it be? Nobody knows how it happened. But what it is a construction worker saw George Lucas celebrating on set, and he asked him, "What's going on? What's going on?" And he finally broke down and said he got his rumor, he got his revenge. He's called Disney white slavers, and he was laughing. He says they don't even know it, they don't even see it's in the scene yet. But the rumor has it George Lucas got some of his revenge, and he loved the taste, and he's going to go for more. And you get a taste of that sweet revenge, and you just want to keep suckling on that revenge and keep on going. And no one saw it yet, so no one even recognizes it yet in the shows. But so that is another big rumor that I'd give to you. But I really think You got to think last time you had a bad experience with Disney, and I bet many of you had, especially people watching this video, and you got to demand that their parks stay closed, and you got to demand that none of your taxes goes to bailing them out. You know, you got was saying how your taxes are spent, and that should be something we all should be trying right now. You know, we shouldn't be watching this Mandalorian crud. We shouldn't be watching Disney Plus. But you know, if you have to, you have to. I understand. A lot of people are in their places, in the homes, and they're just sitting there. And a nice good movie is a good thing to do. And you make sure you don't go stir crazy. But you know, try to cut back all your purchases. You know, don't buy your kids anything with Disney on them or whatever. They could try something else, and they should, because rumor has it, Disney plans to increase prices once they open the park. They're going to increase prices to block out all the locals. They don't want all the locals. They don't want to see anybody come from the local area and bring their own lunch and the drinks and what have you. They want all these foreigners coming in, imported people who fly in, who buy their meals at their expensive restaurants and stay in their expensive hotels, and that's who they've always, for the past 2 years, that's has always been Disney's preferred customer, and they've been trying to block out the local customer more and more. And we should, if the park isn't for us, if we can't afford to go to the park, we should demand that parks stay closed. For the pandemic that we're in, for the Kung flu, there's no cure and no vaccine. And guess who's saving people's lives? It's Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom right now has saved tens of thousands of lives. And and on top of that, I don't think many people say this. Uh, Hundreds of thousands of people have not suffered through this Kung flu for for months because of Governor Newsom. So he saved tens of thousands of people's lives, Governor Newsom, and he saved hundreds of thousands of people from suffering through it. And you look at your mom, and you look at your dad, and you look at your grandma, or you look at your grandpa, and Governor Newsom has kept the the kung flu from reaching them and their life today because of that. There's no cure. There's no vaccine. If your grandma or grandpa has like something they're struggling with, diabetes or something like that, they could keep struggling with it, and live on and live a good life. But if they get the Kung flu, that two combination is going to kill them. And you look at your parents, you look at your grandparents, and then you can thank Governor Newsom for them still being alive and continuing to have a chance to stay alive uh, by keeping the Disneyland parks closed. Why should we open that up? Again, Disney does not want the locals as customers. They are trying to block us out with higher prices. Okay, and they want to even block us out from working there. Apparently, they're gonna they have a plan to import workers who would speak the language of their preferred customers, the free jet setting Asians, rich Asians, who could come and down to Disneyland and have a great time. And they want to Disney wants to import those workers, and just because they can speak the language is a big plus, and they could do a little bit more, and they would give them like minimum wage. See, that's it. uh, you know, we have to raise our minimum wage to $21 an hour, in part for Disney can't import workers and then pay them the minimum wage, like whatever it is, like $10. Uh, if Disney is forced to pay $21 an hour, they are going to make those jobs great. They're going to be jobs everybody's going to want. It's not going to be like just cleaning toilets, but it's going to be like something with big responsibility, some with marketing. It's going to be a job that people will be proud to have. And, you know, and one way we can uh, keep the try to get Disney to change, to get us locals as one of their premium customers again, as we got to make it so that they can't import workers and pay a minimum wage and make it work out for them. You know, Disney is one of the worst capitalist companies there is. It is a bad corporation. Many people who have been defending them have changed their tune. They're saying at least they're a bad corporation, and they are. And all this time, they had like all these part-time people. They even cheated them out of proper health care, making them workers who work under 30 hours so they wouldn't have to pay the uh, Obamacare for these workers. That's how Disney wants to design their jobs, to cheat the workers, to pay them as little as they can, and to get them as little benefits as they can. And we got to change it around. Well, and in one way, you know, we can all demand that the parks stay closed, uh, in part to keep us safe and healthy, but in part until Disney changes their tune. Disney has to lower their prices on their tickets and on their products. They have to bring in high quality, expensive live entertainment. They have to build the downtown area and hotels how we want it. You know, it just can't be all them. We're going to have to pay for that too through taxes on the hotel rooms. That uh, normally when a hotel goes up, there'd be taxes on the hotel room. But like for the first 5 years, a city will say no, there's no taxes, and then the people who build the hotel keep all those taxes for 5 years, and it pays for the hotel. But essentially, we pay for it because those are taxes that would have gone into the city of Anaheim and would have been gone to local projects. So we pay for the hotel. It should be something that we want, something that we can live with too, not just Disney. And what is Disney doing right now? Disney is holding that new hotel construction and new downtown Disney construction over the locals and trying to teach us locals a lesson. This Disney company is not for locals. Uh, we gotta fight. We gotta make them change somehow, and keeping the parks closed as long as we can. That is one of the options. We gotta tell Disney, we'll keep those parks closed until you change. Lower your prices, higher quality live entertainment, the hotels in downtown area, how we like it. We want a new minimum wage of $21 per hour, and we want a trolley system. We want a trolley system, public, system, transportation system, so that everybody can go to the parks, whether working or just as a customer, that without a card. And that would help a lot of people have a good time at Disneyland, not having to have to pay that have for a car and everything. But I tell you, and Disney right now, Disney is saying no, no, no. We want big foreigners, free spending foreigners. Uh, we want and that's why they got out of the negotiations with the governor. The governor wanted local areas with low sickness rates to be able to go to Disneyland only, and Disney says no, no, no. Disney essentially wants to kill a lot of us and make a lot of us sick by opening up the parks their way. And why should we? Disney says because people are outside the parks crying. That's the argument. We got the science behind us. There's no cure. There's no vaccine. We've kept a lot of people from dying. We kept a lot of people from suffering through this. And on the other side, you have Disney management and Disney customers, and all they have is we're crying. They stand outside of the parks and they're crying. Why should we open up the parks just because they're crying? If we open up the parks, I tell you, if you look at what's happening in Florida, at least 1,000 more people a day would be getting the Kung flu, at least. And then out of those 1,000, uh, at least 10 are going to be dead, and then like 990 are going to suffer very, very badly for maybe a couple of months, just because Disney wants to open up the parks to foreigners and get that money in there. the greedy Disney company. They don't want us going to the parks. They want us to get the kung flu. They want us. They want some of us to get killed, and they want some of us to suffer for months. And they want us to pay for their hotels. They want us to pay for the new street signs. They want us to pay for the new streets. That's us locals paying for that. And why should we? I mean, that's the worst deal that the locals can have, and we gotta all stand up together, no matter what we look like, and demand the changes for our big five. Okay, and the big five is the lower prices uh, to get in the parks and on the products. We want better life, expensive entertainment. We want downtown Disney and the hotels built how we like it too, not just how Disney wants it. And then we want minimum wage of $21 per hour. That is so bad. That's so important. If we don't, if it's not law, then companies like Disney are going to say we only have to uh, hire people for the minimum wage, and they will. They will import people. They will look all over the world and import people that will take a minimum wage that's marked in California or in the U.S. And that's why we have to raise the minimum wage. Another reason why we have to raise the minimum wage to $21 an hour. Okay, and then we need the trolley system. We need a trolley system all the way down this Santa Ana, all the way up to LA, all the way up to our own community of locals here that go to the Disneyland Park. And guess what? Disney wants to go in a whole different direction. They want to raise the prices, and they want to hire foreigners to come in, and they want to break up the union. It looks like they want to break up the union, and I think they have a real good chance. And no matter what you think about the word union, it really looks to me like they're on the right side here, especially on their demands for wages. And I think, no matter what they look like, no matter what everybody looks like, we're all together to get the big five. Let's get that big five arm in arm, no matter what they look like. And we're just gonna keep on going because we're up against a powerful Disney company who's paying their management millions and millions of dollars. They they are firing people who cost them thousands of dollars a month. Uh, it's just sick, and I believe it's because of their experiences in China and Hong Kong, and in Shanghai. They have their partners, and they see the low cost for labor in those places. It's so low it has to compete with slave labor. That's how low it is, and that's how they make profit off of 20% capacity uh, by the low uh, cost of the labor. But here, even in Florida, Disney has said at 20% capacity or 25% capacity, they make enough to cover their wages and more, like their fixed costs. So I tell you, you move it. We raise the minimum wage to $21 an hour. That means Disney would have to break even, let's say, at 50% of capacity or 60% of capacity. Even if it's 50% capacity, I'd say that's kind of high, but uh, that means Disney would be making profits at 50% capacity. Yeah, yeah, we gotta just, this Disney company is just one sick company going after all the money they can. And, uh, and for people crying outside Disney, you know, uh, gathering around outside Disney and crying that it isn't open, uh, that is no reason why to open the parks. And there's no cure, there's no vaccine, and Disney doesn't even pay extra for their employees to do all their COVID, to make things safe for the Kung flu. That's rumors and opinions. I heard that rumors, and I think that's my opinion too. Uh, but yeah, it's just Disney opens Disney just wants to open that park, not for us locals, But for the preferred customer, they said that many, many times already. It's in many, many newspapers. Okay, and then they want to replace so, quote their expensive labor too, and it looks like they're already importing foreigners who speak the language of the preferred customers. As freewheeling slave owners from China, their kids flying around the country having a good time, fly into Disneyland or what have you. Uh, they'll have the they'll have this cheap foreign laborers speaking their language, and they'll love it. That's the customers will be loving talking in their own language. I bet they aren't too good at English, and so, but yeah, uh, why why should we open Disney? We shouldn't. Uh, Essentially, Disney's argument is people are crying outside the Disneyland. People are crying, and so they should be able to open. And then if they were open, it wouldn't be for us locals, and they're trying to replace us locals who work there with cheaper foreign workers. Uh, it would be, and plus, there's no cure, no vaccine. At least 1,000 people a day uh, could be blamed to get the kung flu in our city alone, in the local area alone. And a certain amount of them, the science is there, they are going to die. That's the science. You get the kung flu, a certain amount of people are they going to die. These guys, these people crying outside Disneyland, they're making no sense. If uh, if you get the kung flu, many aren't going to die, but they're going to suffer like they never suffered before. And Governor Newsom is keep stopping that right now. And Governor Newsom is, you know, he should be. He's Governor Newsom. He should be maybe called Governor Courageous Newsom, or a lot of people are talking. Uh, let's make it President Newsom. Yeah, let's make it President Newsom for being so courageous, for saving people's lives, for saving people from suffering. You look at your mom, dad, you look at your grandma and grandpa, and they could, you know, it's not a far-fetched thing to say they could be alive today because of Governor Newsom. And you know what? You know what? There's some fat ass guys and gals outside Disney crying and crying to get the Disneyland parks open, and those are the people you can blame if your grandma or grandpa dies and Disney opens. It's those people, fat ass, probably rich, people uh, sitting there, and the only reason why you should open up the Disney parks is because they're crying. These fat ass want to stuff their face with some expensive food, and they're saying things like, "Oh yeah, let's raise the prices so we can make the experience better, so we can get out the riffraff, the poor people." Uh, that's what these fat ass guys and gals outside Disneyland crying. That's what they're doing. Uh, it's just because to make them stop crying, we should open up Disneyland. And they're rich, and they've probably said one thing or another. They probably said, "Oh, these raising prices, these from Disneyland. Oh, it's a blessing. It means it's a better experience. There's less people around us, and the poor people don't get a chance to." Or to enjoy the parks, or the poor, or those type of people are supposed to go when these fat ass rich people aren't, like during the week. You're supposed to go during the week where they cut back the hours, they cut back the entertainment, uh, and they cut back the price, a little bit, uh, and so that's when the poor other people, thin people, are supposed to go to the parks. But then what come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the parks are supposed to be for these fat ass guys and gals, many of them with a lot of money, you know, uh, saying, and they said one thing, they said at least at one time during their lifetime, he says, these price increases by Disney are great. They'll keep the crowds down, and they keep like the poor people riff-raffed out, and we'll be able to enjoy the parks more. And they're the ones who go to the restaurants, stuff their faces with the food like $100 bill, and they're just, oh, they're getting fatter and fatter, and the necks are getting fatter, and oh man, and 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 bottom line, they say, let's open Disneyland because we're crying, you know. And then Disney management is even faking situations. That rumor has it they're paying people to go up to them and start crying about the parks being closed. And you know, this Disney management is really really bad. I mean, they're getting millions and millions of dollars, and they're firing people who get like thousands of dollars, you know. And when Obamacare came, and when Disneyland was supposed to give everybody health care, what they did was, for a lot of people, for thousands and thousands of people, they cut their hours to less than 30 hours a week, so they would have to give them Obamacare or health care. So you look at what they're doing, and you know, the full-time workers, full-time union guys, yeah, sure, they're getting their health care paid, but that was not the case for people working 30 hours or less. uh, Disneyland did not. Disneyland designed those jobs specifically so they worked less than 30 hours, and so they didn't have to pay them health care that a lot of people said they deserved. So that's a sick company, and their rumors have it they're going to be raising the prices, and you know, it's us locals paying for everything, paying for street signs and everything, paying for the hotels too, that would be blocked off to us because they cost us too much. And you know, you want to do something about it, you keep the Disneyland parks closed, and they stay closed, and until we make Disney change their tune. And it looks like it's going to be hard to make them change their mind, uh, to get them off on what they're doing right now. It's going to take a big effort to change their mind. And as long as we can say no cure, no vaccine, let's say no to Disneyland parks being opened. Yeah, keep the Disney death parks closed. And you know, sure, we would be able to work with them. You know, if they give us our big five, all of a sudden, I'm sure, you know, if the locals, they get $21 an hour, they don't have to pay as much to go to the park. They get more live entertainment. They get the new hotels, and they get a new trolley system. I'm sure they would be more inclined to risk, since we get all of that, we might be more inclined to risk, you know, getting the Kung Flu. Uh, but, you know, we'll do everything we can for no one gets the Kung Flu. But, you know, this seems just like a once in a lifetime situation that we just got to take advantage of. We can mold Disney into what we want, or we can lay back and watch these fat ass women and these fat ass guys crying outside Disney, and so the Disney parks are open because they're crying, and the science, but there's no cure and there's no vaccine, and people have died, and people have gotten really really sick, and you know, I can't talk to people who say the Kung Flu is doesn't exist. I got it, you know, and it's the worst thing I've ever had. It lasts long, and it attacks your everything. I tell you, you don't want it, even if it doesn't kill you. You don't want the Kung Flu. It's real, and all these deaths, they're real. All these people, hundreds of thousands of people suffering through it, that's real. And guess what? Governor Newsom saving tens of thousands from dying, that's real. It's maybe President Newsom saving hundreds of thousands of people from getting sick, that is real. And the way it's going on, He's going to keep on saving people from dying. He's going to keep on saving people from getting sick. And guess what? It's these fat ass girls and these fat ass guy, right, rich girls and rich guys outside Disney, stuffing their faces with $10 churros, crying and saying, "Look at us crying. So open up the parks." Oh, there's no science there. It's just fat ass rich people, wanting to get us sick. And do they come to our funerals? Do they come to anybody's funerals? No. They're probably saying, "Oh, the kung flu doesn't exist," And what about people suffering for like 8 weeks and keep on suffering? You know, people with ongoing conditions, underlying conditions that are at risk if they get the kung flu is way higher in California too than other states. I'm afraid to say uh, these fat ass women and guys outside Disney crying, saying, "Open up the parks." Uh, they would put a lot of people at risk of getting sick. But because we're California, a lot of people have underlying conditions that the kung flu might make them die. And so it's even more important that we get this right, and it's even more important to support Governor Newsom and maybe President Newsom from people getting killed and from the kung flu. And again, uh, we don't have to pry into people's private lives or what have you, but there's a lot more people with underlying conditions that you get them sick with the kung flu. No joke, they may get a death sentence, and this is beyond like. Getting past our healthcare capacity. And this is just people out there. They're gonna if they get the kung flu, they're gonna die, and we can't. We shouldn't let that happen. We don't have to let that happen. If they never come in contact with the kung flu, it's not going to happen. And I tell you, one place you don't want to be is like at a courthouse or like a police station or something like that, a jail. Avoid that with all cost because those are places where a lot of people get sick. Uh, so stay away from courthouses, stay away from jails, stay away from police departments. That's going to save you a lot of exposure. Okay, and people don't get if they are not subjected to the kung flu, if they don't come in contact with the kung flu, they are not going to get sick. That's the science. That's a science. If you and you know what the science seems to be now too is if you walk up to a fat ass guy or gal, rich gal outside of Disney crying, uh, yeah, they're doing things that are trying to get people sick, that are going to get people sick, and they're going to get people killed, and it's all because they just can't. They're missing their cherry churros, or whatever, and who spend like hundreds of dollars of a meal, and buy all these different stuff of merchandise and bring home, and 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 all of those people that are protesting to open up the Disney parks, they have all said in the past, I bet, it's my opinion, that if you if we keep raising the prices, that's a good thing. They they love the price raises in the past, and I bet they said they want to continue raising Disney prices, and they'll gladly pay them for the better park experience with less people around. And that is sick. You fat ass rich people out there, you're sick. You're doing things, uh, trying to get the Disneyland park open. That's going to kill people. It's going to make people suffer, and especially in California, it's going to kill more people than normal. Okay, and I tell you, we don't want that. We're all together on this. Okay, us locals who are supporting this, the Big Five, we're in this together. We don't care what anybody looks like, and we're aware that the people who have people who have that are with us, our allies, they can't risk even getting sick once. Okay, so let's be safe. Uh, it's I love wearing. We should wear the mask all the time. At this time, and social distancing and all. And just remember, our allies in this, they can't even get sick once. Okay, and or else they're risking a very terrible ending. Okay, so and you know, take a look at this. You want fat ass rich women and guys in Disney, opening up the parks, raising their prices. They're trying to lower the cost of the labor by importing labor. Uh, they have a good reason, to really uh, cut back and get rid of the unions. Uh, if you don't think they have a plan to get rid of the unions, I bet they do. I haven't given it a lot of thought. There's legal issues and all, but I'm 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 sure they're hoping that these guys have to get another job or something like that. That I bet Disney is telling everybody, do not increase unemployment benefits, do not increase any other benefits to other companies so that they can survive, except us. Disney is, in my opinion, is that two-faced. But we got to keep the unemployment, all through unemployment benefits to unemployed workers, uh, all through this time. And we got to help these businesses with loans or whatever, credits, whatever, to help a business keep going all through this time. And then once it's gone, once there's a cure, once there's a vaccine, we can have normal taxes, and they'll catch up to pay for all these expenses. But right now, it's important that we treat these workers well, so that essentially, I believe maybe part of how Disney gets rid of their union is that they voluntarily have to get another job. That Disney makes sure that they don't get any more unemployment. Then Disney sees them get another job, and then Disney says, "You're terminated because you accepted another job." That's what it sounds like, but I haven't given it a lot of thought. But I'm not the only one who said they are probably have a big plan to take out the unions. I heard that rumor. I had that rumor they have, like these big millionaires in management has a plan of getting rid of these unions that they're paying right now. These management, they're getting millions of dollars, and they have their plans of how they're going to bust the union so they can import workers. And what would stop them from importing workers is if we had a proper minimum wage. Okay, so you want Disney on one side, these fat ass uh, rich people opening the parks, Disney raising the prices, Disney blocking out the locals, uh, Disney replacing them with the foreigner cheap workers. That's what Disney's working on. While their management gets millions of dollars, while their investors get billions of dollars, and and it's too expensive for the locals who still have to pay for it all. And like they have to pay, the locals will still have to pay for sewer lines. They'll have to pay for any like hotel that was built out that we can't afford to go to. Uh, you know, uh, and then plus the Disney parks would be a source of the Kung flu that'd be killing a lot of people, that making a lot more sick. That's what Disney wants, you know. And on the other side, we keep the Disney parks closed, and we have less death, we have less people getting sick, and we use it as a force to get Disney to lower their prices and get a product that we want. that the locals can go and use and afford. And it seems clear to me we got to keep the Disney parks closed. We got to tell Disney how they can open it by not just like having these uh, cleaning stations or what have you, but they got to lower their prices. They got to increase their live entertainment. They got to do the hotels in downtown Disney how we want it. We want a new trolley system. We had that red line, but we want a trolley system that's been promised to us that will give all the locals around here, our extended local area, all the way down to Santa Ana, a way to come to Disneyland car free. That would be nice. That'd be enjoyable. And then we got to get that minimum wage up. We got to get that minimum wage up. I believe $21 an hour, and then we got to fight to maintain it. We got to fight to maintain it and to keep it being able to buy all we want by keeping slave labor owners from China coming here and buying up properties and raising the prices that way, and then they're cheap. Uh, we got to keep out the slave labor products and services. We got to keep them. We got to block them out somehow. If the federal government can only do tariffs, we got to change that for our state can do tariffs and to defend a good way of life, and not to reward this slave labor crap of doing trade with China. And it's a government that's got us into this problem with these trade deficits and printing money. And so let's get this. Hopefully, Governor Newsom can help us get a new, by executive order, get us a new minimum wage of $21 per hour. And for sure, it'd be Governor Courageous Newsom. Uh, but then, if he helps us get a minimum wage of $21 an hour, and all these, Disney, the lower prices and stuff like that, uh, you can for sure, I bet, start calling him President Newsom someday soon in the future. And, I believe a lot of people would support you, President Newsom. Believe me, they won't forget uh, their grandma or grandpa that you kept alive. That's a big fact. A lot of people taking a hard look at this. They look at their parents, old parents, they're looking at their grandparents, and they're still alive, and they're going to thank you, Governor Newsom, President Newsom. And again, a lot of people are saying, let's start this right, Let's start this without racism. Let's start this without sexism. And let's start this with the minimum wage of $21 an hour. And then, our other big four uh, demands for Disney in this local area, which is a big part of California, from LA to all down to, Santa Ana. That's a like, big extended community that we're talking about in California uh, that would be benefit from these big five changes. And you know, uh, Governor Newsom, uh, I've never seen anybody with so much confidence when they knew uh, that California was going to vote for them in the next presidential election. And you'll have that in your pocket. That'll be so many votes. And there's other blue states and all. You would have a very, very good launch to be President Newsom. And again, but uh, I hope you don't think I'm trying to manipulate you or anything like that. This is really a real sincere thank you for keeping people alive, for keeping people from suffering so much, and that uh, no one can take away. You did that, and thank you for that. That's what I'd like to thank you for. I know people have lost businesses and gotten upset about that, but I hope they can see that if it was their wife's business uh, that they lost. Uh, I hope they can see that they can be thankful that at least they didn't lose their wife to death by the kung flu. And it's hard to argue with somebody. They built a business and they're losing everything, but they could even lose even more, and that would be their life. And that would be not good. And if you don't come in contact with the kung flu, you don't get it. And I hope you can calm down a bit, and just be thankful. Your wife, your kids are not dead, not suffering badly, haven't lost a leg and arm because they had to have it cut off because of the kung flu or something like that. And we can move on as soon as there's a cure. But there is no cure and there's no vaccine. And so, Governor Newsom, keep those Disney parks closed, please. And that's that's just keeping those Disney parks closed at the minimum is keeping thousands of people each day from contacting the kung flu. If you look at the numbers in Florida, they get like 3,000. It's less, and people think they're lying. That they're lying about how many people are getting sick and how many people are dying. But it's easily 100 people a day are dying, and at least about 3,000 people a day are contracting the kung flu, and that's low. And I bet if it's in California, if we were just like Florida, that's 3,000 people getting sick a day at the Disney parks, and 100 dying a day. That we stop by keeping the Disney parks closed. We keep the Disney parks closed, and you know, and then we tell these fat ass women and guys, rich, uh, just because you're crying doesn't mean we're going to open up the parks. That's no reason to open up the parks, okay? And they're talking about, oh, what about the workers? The workers should get unemployment, and hopefully it's high enough to like comparable to their wages. If not, we got to make it so, and we got to extend unemployment. Uh, that's how we keep our workers in good shape, and plus, uh, it's all paid for later on by the companies who pay the unemployment for unemployment insurance. The companies over time will catch up and pay for all of this, and there is no reason why we shouldn't have extended unemployment all through this pandemic. We should have very liberal benefits, and it's not people. It's not uh, just because rich business people have to pay for it and they're yelling about having to pay for it is no reason why not to have it. We should follow the logic. We should follow the science, and the science says we should have these unemployment benefits to get us through these hard times, and the economic science, and you know later on be paid back in taxes over time by these companies who usually are at fault at making people unemployed. But uh, one way or the other, we should pay for these extended unemployment benefits for everybody. Okay, hopefully comparable to the prior wages, and then all these employees are covered, taken care of, and no one has said, let's take away their unemployment benefits, you fat ass rich people, uh, you know, uh, who are so concerned about these workers. They aren't concerned about the workers. They're concerned about stuffing their face with rich food, with all the dirty, trashy people out of the parks because it's too costly for them to be there. So, again, if you like this video, please put a like sign, and please, subscribe to the station if you can. I'd appreciate it very much. And, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't like it, I'm so glad that you made it through all this time to the spirit. Okay. That's one of my favorite YouTubers. Uh, Gary at over at Nerdrotic, he's always says that. He says that I hope you enjoyed the video, and but if you haven't and you made it through this long, I really thank you a lot, and that's a good thought. I do feel that way too, and again, uh, you take care and stay healthy, and think about all the people haven't died and haven't gotten sick, and in the process of getting sick, some have lost their arms and legs and toes and fingers, and that's all part of, they didn't die, but they did get sick from the kung flu. It's really bad. It's the worst thing I ever had, and no cure, no vaccine. Uh, let's I think everybody should let these fat ass rich women and men know what we think about them, trying to open up the Disney death parks and kill us and kill our parents and stuff like that. I think we should all let them know how we think about them.